All right, so hello everybody. I want to introduce myself and say, well, I'm Ryan. I'm Ryan Osira. I work out of New York City. I run PrecisionTradingLabs.com. And what we do is we teach people how to trade in the stock market. And I'm going to get into that in a lot of detail here. But first, I wanted to start the video by thanking Lori for including me in this. My passion is teaching people the skills that changed my life. So I'm going to get in on the intro side of things because you need a good, strong foundation before you start doing this. Hope the video is good, and I really hope the sound is pretty good because I'm at my office and I pay a lot of money in rent on Wall Street. And actually, real quick, I want to show you around here. And if you look this way, it's a different side of the conference area. Out there is the communal spot, and we have some crazy art up here. And that's the other side. This is my favorite conference room because I got the chalkboard and we can make that into a whiteboard so when we do presentations and classes here, it's pretty awesome. So enough about me. Let me get into some of my detailed biography of why you should listen to me and all that kind of good stuff. And then I'll get to teaching you how to trade in the stock market and things you need to know before you start trading. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to transfer over to share screen. I'm going to show you a little bit of slides and presentation. And then at the end of the presentation, or towards the end of the presentation, I'm going to show you some real trades from this previous week, maybe even previous couple weeks. This way you can kind of see what it looks like day to day. And just right at the beginning, I'm going to show you how you don't need a ton of time and you really don't need a ton of money. It's a real misnomer that you need, 100,000, 25,000 to start with. I can show you how to get started super cheap because I started with almost nothing. So anyway, I'll get into my background and my bio in another video, but I'm going to kind of give you the highlights right now. So let's transfer over to the share screen, and I'll remain on your screen here, but we're going to do more of a presentation style, and then we're going to get into the actual stock market and how we make money. So stay tuned for just a second while I transfer over to share screen. And that should start now. Second here. All right, let's get rolling. Okay, so the title of our presentation today is Introduction to Cashing In with Stock Trading. Why did I phrase it that way? Because this is about making money. It's okay to make money. It's the first rule of this. You have to understand this is about making money. There's no harm in that. You can do a whole lot of great stuff with making money, okay? So if you make money in the stock market, you don't have to go to a job. You don't have to invest in real estate, all that kind of good stuff. So let's get into this. And first thing I want to do, though, is just for legal purposes, I'm going to leave this disclaimer up here for a few seconds. There we go. So you guys have that. And actually, let me get started on the presentation side of things. All right, so let me leave the disclaimer up for just a second so you can see that. And, I'm not even going to read it. I'm going to leave it up here so you guys can go ahead and read it. It's the same one you guys see in probably a million videos. But it's necessary so you understand what information you're getting at any given time. So, okay, let's get into the nitty gritty. Why should you listen to me? Listen, I've been supporting myself as a trader for the last 12 years. I was mentored by a 30-year Wall Street veteran who kind of told me that the tricks of the trade, how to stay in business for the long term. Not about just making money today, but how do you make money every day, every week, and every month. I've trained hundreds of students to use stock trading as a side hustle. I've gotten a bunch of students to do this full time. One of them, his name is Patrick Dunawilla. I got him to actually making 4-figure days. So when I say 4 figures, I'm talking $2,000 to $5,000 in one day. He did that pretty regularly. Sooner or later, I'm going to get him on for an interview. We did one years ago, but we didn't get into the nitty gritty of how much money he makes. So we'll take care of that, and I think you guys will find that interesting. My claim to fame And one of my favorite and my stories that I treat with a lot of honor is I helped a security guard turn $500 into $3,000 in 3 months after he lost his job. He wasn't one of my earliest students, but he's the most impressive student. He stuck to it after working his butt off, and he was just about to buy a program from an unnamed organization. That there's a famous book that I read and I love, but they also have a seminar company, and they were going to charge him an arm and a leg to learn to trade, and he found me just at the right time. So kind of just all worked out. And now I help working professionals and those seeking early retirement on how to double the money in their trading accounts. And I show them how to do that without risking a lot of money or spending hours behind a computer screen. Bottom line, I'm going to show you how to double your stock trading account in 12 months or less, guaranteed. That's kind of, but that's really what I aim to do for everybody that I work with. All right. So now that we covered who I am, let me reveal some of what you're going to learn today. And Aaron, slide. All right. So the first thing I'm going to start with is the basic. What is stock trading, right? Because you guys probably have seen CNBC, probably seen some stuff on YouTube. I'm going to show you what the real deal, what it is. And when I say big picture, I'm going to show you the difference between investing and trading, and on and on. Okay, I'm going to show you why you need to stock trade, kind of from a big picture perspective. I'm going to give you the bird's eye view, the biggest myths about stock trading, and I'm going to show you how to ensure you get profitable results. And to end the call, when we do, when I show you what actual trading looks like, I'm going to show you what the 3 biggest takeaways should be from this training. And it's probably not what you're thinking right now. Okay, so it should be fun. All right. So let's get started. And like I said, I'm going to set you what I hope is a really good foundation in stock trading, because when you come away from here, if you have a strong foundation, everything can build from there. All right. So what is stock trading? Okay. So a lot of people have probably heard of investing, right? You know, there's people who say put away money for 401k, your IRA, you should do all those things. Those are great. And you've probably heard of Warren Buffett, because he's either the 2nd or 3rd richest person in the world. And so that's traditional investing. So investing, usually buying stocks for the long term, so 10 to 30 years out, think Warren Buffett. Trading is more of a short to medium term. And if you've heard of the term buy low, sell high, we're kind of looking to do that in days and sometimes weeks. My average time I'm in a trade is about 7 days. Okay. And trading, what it can do for you is it can allow you to grow a lot faster if it's done correctly. Right. And why do I say it's a let you grow faster is because if you're getting almost like a secondary income from trading and you're letting that money compound or use as an income, you can grow pretty fast using that. Now, that may not be your goal. You may be looking to, you may have a 2-year goal, 5-year goal. That's fine. My goal when I started trading was really about, getting rid of, getting an income that was pretty solid that I could use to support my family. Trading can be an income side hustle. A lot of my students do that. Probably the bulk of my students are looking at this as just a side hustle. You can start thinking, people get lost in this minutia of like what companies between GameStop, Tesla, and all these things. Start thinking about just the companies you shop at, right? Example, Target, Apple. I don't have it on here, but a bunch of my students use Facebook and Snapchat, stuff like that. Those are great companies to start trading with and just kind of like examining. We're not going to get into like how to buy the stock and like what to look at. We're going to get that like only briefly at the end, but very doable. But it's a great starting point. Don't waste a lot of time. Just get right to looking at just the companies that you spend money in already. Don't worry if these stocks seem expensive. Later on, at some point in the future, I'll show you how to get started with just $500 to $1,000. You don't need a ton of money to trade with. It helps. It'll accelerate your growth if you're starting with 25, 50K. But if realistically you're starting between $1,000 and $5,000, you can really do a lot of good stuff with it. Okay, why you need to stock trade. All right. So it means you just don't want to earn 0.2% in the bank. Banks right now, interest rates are near zero. You're making a little bit of money in interest from the bank, but if you're looking, grow faster than that or bigger, then, stock trading is the way to go. But you don't want high risk either, right? I'm going to show you some very simple ways to not lose a lot of money in the stock market. So that's great. You want to start generating passive income quickly. I think for passive income, most people think you have to, buy a house and rent it out. That's more traditional. But trading can be quite passive also. You're trying to get out of a job you hate. I've been there, right? I was trying to get out of a job I hated. I bought a business and then I drove that business into the ground, and I needed to get out of the business, and it felt like I couldn't get out until I had the next thing to do. My next thing was stock trading, and it got me out of my business pretty quickly. You want to be able to work from anywhere there's an internet connection. I know for a lot of people don't do the traveling they want to. I don't do a ton of it anymore because I have a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 2-year-old, and extensive travel is not for me. But when we do travel, we do go away. We do more of a beach kind of vacation for a week, every summer. And for me, that I usually don't trade during those times. But years ago, when I started trading, it was the coolest thing to be able to make money from my hotel room in Key West, Florida, or wherever we went. So if that's something that interests you, this is quite doable with stock trading. All right. Bird's eye view of the biggest myths about stock trading. These things tend to drive me a little bit nuts, but it is what it is. Everyone has their the right and wrong way of doing things, and this is mine, right? So the one I hate the most, right, is because of time, right? So like you must sit behind a computer screen. I don't sit behind a computer screen any longer than I want to. That's been my goal, right? So if you don't want to sit behind a computer screen, meaning that you have to push buttons and day trade all day long, you can still trade. I promise you. You can set up a trade whenever you have time. I would say about 90% of my students are setting up their trades when they have time, not when the market's just open. You can set up a trade in the evening, in the morning, in the middle of the night if you want. It'll work out just fine. I'm not going to be able to get into too much of that because I don't have a little bit of time with you. But at the end, when I show you where we can actually have a conversation, I'll be able to show it. I'll have more time to show it to you. Setting up a trade only takes a few minutes. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's literally can be less than 5 minutes to set up a trade. Finding the trade takes a little longer, but setting it up, meaning that you're going to buy at whatever price, is very quick. You must take a lot of risk up here in the blue. That's ridiculous. If you do it the wrong way, yeah, sure. If you're a gambler or any of that kind of stuff, yeah. But you decide how much risk you're comfortable with. Okay? Don't let anyone tell you. I have rules that I follow, but don't let anyone tell you to take more risk than you're comfortable with. Okay? You decide how much risk you're comfortable with. All right? And there's a little formula here that I'll give you that is risk $1 to make $3 to $5. If you follow that in the stock market, frankly, if you follow that in anything in business, you're going to be in pretty good shape. You have a good business in front of you. You should always be in control, right? You don't force yourself to buy something or get into something just because you see it on CNBC or you read something on, Motley Fool or these websites or something like that. You're in control of what you do. Don't force yourself to buy GameStop or Tesla or whatever. Be in control of your money. It's the first rule of wealth. Then you need to put huge amounts of money in a trading account. You can really get started with, $500 to $1,000, like I said. See story from slide 1, right? I mean, his name is David Alibi. You can find him on Facebook, but later on I'll introduce you if you join my community. And like I said, he started with $500, $500, and did the work and came out ahead. So it works out. Need to be a whiz with technology. Nope, my system is extremely simple, and it's just based on patterns in the stock market. So there's nothing overly complicated here. that requires a ton of technology. I'd say the average person who can work an iPhone or a smartphone, I should say, could basically be a trader. I also do have this saying that reminds me of setting up trades. And it's, if you can buy something on Amazon, you can set up a trade. It's no different, to be honest with you. It's very, very simple now. It's only gotten simpler. That you must be a math superstar. It's not even math what we do. I call it simple arithmetic. That's it. If you can do 1 + 1 = 2, you can trade. I promise you, there's no equations. I would say there's barely any division. So, and what's good about today is everyone's carrying a calculator in on their phone. So everything's pretty quick and easy to do. Some of my favorite stuff. Okay. How to ensure you get profitable results, right? How do I make the claim that you can ensure you get profitable results? Well, there's certain rules that if you follow, you can't help but be successful, right? It's you want rules that if you follow, it's hard to lose money, right? Same with health, right? If I eat vegetables all day long and work out every day, it's gonna be hard not to be healthy, right? All right, so step 1. And I think I stressed this enough already, but I feel like I constantly have to say it, right? Don't trade or invest money you can't afford to lose, all right? If you're going with your rent money or your mortgage money or money you should be using to buy food, you're not an investor and you're not a trader, you are a gambler, all right? So establish how much money you can put into this, save it, get a second job, sell some stuff online, I don't care. Don't risk more than you can afford to lose. If you start there, you really can't hurt yourself, put it that way. So there is some more detail that goes into that, right? So the bad news is you are going to have losing trades, right? But you will have winning trades also. The key is to just keep those losses relatively small. Make sure when you're making money or when you're winning trades that you're making 3 times, 5 times what your loss is, and you can't lose, right? And what do I mean by some of this, right? Is that, so let's say I get into a trade on Monday, right? And I lose $100 of a few thousand, right? Well, great, I lost $100. It's not, losing is not easy. But if you take that $100 loss, instead of watching, stock go to 0 or something like that, and then you move on to, let's say Tuesday or Wednesday is your next trade, but let's say you make $300 on a profit on the next trade. We just paid for your loss, and now you're ahead $200. Does that make sense? I know that's just some quick math, but that's about the extent of the math of it. And if you do that consistently, like I said, very hard not to make money. You really just wind up can't losing. If you have to establish some kind of rule like that. And if you do, that's one of the ways you're going to ensure you get results. Step 2, trading, getting emotional. All right. If you can avoid getting anxious or stressed around your trading, it'll go a long way in getting you results. Okay, I find that some of the emotions actually don't come from just the idea of losing money, making money. It's really just from, too much, ignore the fake gurus is what I have right here on the screen, right? Don't trade from your car, right? So everybody knows the gurus that do YouTube videos and they're trading with, from their Ferrari or on an island or at the beach. I have never met a trader who literally wants to trade from the beach. You trade from your hotel room, then you go to the beach. All right, it's just the fact of the matter, right? I've traded from mostly within the country, but I have traded from Dominican Republic once or twice in Europe. My desire to trade and then not enjoy traveling is 0. So ignore fake gurus for doing that kind of stuff. Will you occasionally set up trades or close trades from your phone? You might. You might, but no one chooses to do that. That's like a 20% of the year you doing that. This is a business. This is not about excitement. I promise you. Yeah, I find it extremely interesting. And something fun to do, but this is a business. Trading is not about excitement, right? Find your action or your excitement someplace else, right? I find joy and excitement and fun in taking my kids to the park, in taking them on a ferry ride. We just did a ferry the other day in New York City. That was awesome. And find someplace else to do it. If you've lost money before, that's okay. Everyone has, right? If you have lost money and you have this emotional attachment with trading or stock investing, right? Then it's time to start over. To start over with the right way. If you just took some of the stuff in my previous slides from beginning to here, and you're trying to start over, these are good rules to get moving. I promise. Step 3. Get a mentor who is where you want to be. Okay. Here's some of here's what I've learned in my own experience, and then now dealing with over multiple hundreds of people in this game, is you have to make sure to get access to the mentor, right? So I have to make sure you have access to them for Q&A. So why is that important? Because a couple of people have hired mentors, not me, but hired mentors who they get to talk to 4 times a year. That's not a recipe for success, I have to tell you. Without someone to ask questions of, you're flying blind. You don't know if you did the right thing, you did the wrong thing. You're going to have times where you may lose money, and that was just the market. That had nothing to do with you. You didn't do anything wrong. So you need someone to tell you that. Otherwise, you're going to be confused. You're going to get lost. You're going to make the mistake. If you did make a mistake, you're going to make the same mistake twice. A mentor can really shortcut that for you. Another thing about having a mentor is that I do find some mentors will give you trades and then say, "Oh no, I didn't lose money on that." That's a bad sign. Okay, a good trader and a good mentor will own their losses, meaning that, hey, that didn't work out. I planned it this way, it didn't happen, but I only lost a little bit of money. If they don't do that, run. Okay. Another cool thing that I just find not enough people, because a lot of YouTube gurus tend to be like tend to be jerks. Sorry for my language. But you have to be able to get along with the person, right? If you don't have some kind of like energy that works between the two of you, I can think of some of my best friendships have come from my students. A bunch of them were friends. We actually, less so with COVID, obviously, I haven't seen anyone as much, but I haven't seen people as much. So, but prior to the COVID, this was favorably times to get coffee or beer with some of my students, which struck up really great relationships. It helps quite a bit, I promise. All right, step 4. Ooh, what does a stock trade look like? So I'm actually going to go into actually the computer, and I'm going to bring up a stock trade. I'm going to show you one that I did this week, and then I'm going to build one, which is some companies that I mentioned before, right? Nothing's going to be done on it. We're just going to go, and I'm going to show you how quick it can be, and how it's not that hard. It's just, it takes a little bit of doing it a couple of times to know what to look for and some right guidance. All right, so give me 1 second here, and I'm going to jump into the computer, and then we'll get started on an actual stock trade. Let's go. All right, so now we are into the charts. We're into the fun stuff. Well, I consider the fun stuff. You will, when you start learning how to do this, you'll consider this fun, okay? So right here, I'm going to show you a trade that my community and I took on Wells Fargo. Hopefully you've heard of Wells Fargo Bank, depending on where you are. I know they are by us in New York. And what you have in front of you is a chart, yes, but more importantly, right, what does this tell us? Okay, these symbols, this graph, these bars, all this means is, let me get rid of this. Hold on 1 second here. Sorry, the control panel is just getting in my way. It's annoying. So all this is these bars, these green, red, all these movements and stuff. These are just measuring price in a given time period. So it means it opened at 1, closed at 5, opened at 5, closed at 1. That's all it means. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't worry about that. You can learn this in an afternoon. I have basically a 20-minute video teaches you how to do this. Ask me, I'll give it to you. But really what we want to look at is the trade that we put in the community over here, right? So here's the trade. You'll see here, you see these green, but then there's that one red one. And after that red, there's these more green ones, right? So that red there is a little tell that there was a pause in buying while the stock was on its way up. That tells us someone was interested in buying and they just didn't want anyone else to know. But it also tells me when it does get back to this area that people are going to want to buy more of it, right? It's just kind of a function of the market. So you'll see here it kind of, went up pretty high from there, but then it kind of gave all of that back. Look how it dropped down from 51, right? Right into this 46.85 is where we entered right there, right? And you'll see here, it kind of just touched that area, right? And then after that, stayed there a couple of days, but sure enough, 3 days later, all the way back up to just about 50 from that 46.85. So let's just say 47.50. So with this, if you bought even just 100 shares, you made $300, okay? One trade, right? Now, I said you may have to do, maybe I didn't get into that, but let's say you did one of these a week, right? And you made 300 on this one. This risk, if this back blue line, the bottom one here, if it went to that, we would just lose money. Okay, we would lose about $50, right? So let's say you lost $50. You made 300 this week. Next week you lose 50. We still had 250. You would have to lose quite a bit to go into the negative. But let's just say you did one of these a week, and two of these you lost 50, and two of these you made 300. You made $600 extra a month, which is a couple $1,000s here, right? Very doable. And this is what I do every week, basically. I don't do more with a traditional day trading stuff where you're in and out of the market the same day. I've gotten out of that. It's not a desire of mine anymore. Now I want to be able to set trades up and forget about them. They make money, they lose money. I want to go and enjoy my life and have fun. So like I said, we would find, let's see if we find, I think I mentioned Apple. Let's go to Target and see if we find something. And I did not look at these. Normally, if we were having like a one-on-one webinar, I'd say, give me a symbol, I'd look at it. So I mentioned Target, Apple. Okay, well, Target, this was a little too easy. I didn't know. Okay, so Target's right here. But guess what? I'm not going to buy it right here because here is where I think it's overvalued, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for Target to go down in price. Then I'm going to buy. But where, right? You can't just say, it goes down $1, it goes down $2, right? So I want to be a buyer right over here, the same way that we had that green-red system over there. I want to be a buyer of Target. Let me just do this right there, right? So price comes down here. Right? I'll be a buyer in here in this 240. So I know this is an expensive stock. Don't worry, I have a very easy way to trade this with a couple $100. Just disregard. I'll show you that later. Probably not in this presentation per se, but if I'll show you where you can get more information about how to trade in the stock market. And once you get there, then you'll see that there's cheaper ways to trade. But this is a very nice trade, right? So it's at 249. We need to go down to that 246 price. Then we would look to be a buyer. Okay, and you see how I found that inside of like 5 seconds? I have a trained eye. Well, let's say it took me, seconds. Let's say you devoted 10 minutes to this. Is the potential to make a couple $100 worth 10 minutes of your time? I mean, you decide. Right, so let's find a cheap stock. Where's the cheap? That used to be a very cheap stock. 44. That's what we're looking for. We want to find something real cheap. People afford it expensive. Oh, Ford. Here we go. Okay, cool. All right. So same deal here. The stock is trading for $13. Okay, right? So what we want to do, we're right here. We want to go where price was, where price went up, right? So if we look right there, right? See where price came down? Just stopped, right? I call it a pause, right? And then it exploded up. So now you just wait for 1331 to get down to 1290. And if you buy it at 1290, and let's say it goes up, let's say I think it's probably go up about $1, right? I don't know how, I don't want to explain how I'm making that calculation, but I will in time, right? So if this comes down here and you buy 100 shares, you need one, actually, let's do this. Okay, so you would need $1,300, right, to buy this, right? $1,300 to buy 100 shares for at $13. At 13. Okay. If it goes up just $1, you make $100. You make $100. Okay. Let's say you lose money. Let's say this trade doesn't work out, right? Fails. You lose $20. Okay, so if this trade doesn't work out, I'm using $1,300 of buying power, right? Meaning that's how much I need to buy the stock, right? If I lose $20. What's something stupid you spent $20 on recently, right? I know after I'm done with this video, I'm gonna go buy a rice bowl. It's gonna be $12. Okay, so think about that. But on the same token, if this trade works out, it's easily going to make $100. This could go even a little bit further. Let's just say just $100, right? $100, $1,300. I think that works pretty good. It's not quite 10% in one day return on your money, but it's pretty close. So if you see here, I found these trades pretty quickly, and I was just kind of using stocks that people know, right? We have a better way of doing that. That's called a screener. I've got a couple that I can give you. They're very simple to use. I have a video training on it. And basically it'll give you a watch list of stocks that are very high potential to trade. And they can be between $5 and $25. You know, that's how I can kind of show you how to use about $500 to make money. But look at this, it's, you know, $1,300 made 100. The Wells Fargo trade, you're using a little bit more money. I have a couple of different ways you can do that trade. I know we did it with the strategy I used to use only $500 with the Wells Fargo trade using the strategy that I show my students. We use $385 of buying power to make 200. That's really awesome. I don't have time to get into all the details here, but this is kind of just a flavor of what I do with my community just about every week. We don't put on trades every day. We put on 2 to 4 a week. Right? And they once you see them and know how to see them, you can either do these yourself or we do put out some trades in the community. And let me get rid of this. So you have a screenshot of this. Let me trash this. Okay. And let me end the presentation with just a quick review, right? And I think I told you in the beginning, I want you to have 3 takeaways, right? And I want them to be 3 practical takeaways, right? I do want to say you can do this. This is a learnable skill. I want you to know it, that I'm nothing special. I have no special upbringing. I grew up relatively, I don't want to use the word poor because I had a roof over my house and food in my belly, but moderate income. I have no special skills. I just had the desire to learn and the mental, I always say I was just too dumb to quit. So when I would get knocked down, I'd get right back up. If that's you, then this might be a good way for you to make money. The 3 takeaways, right? That if you decide before you get into any investment, or any stock investment, right? Three things. The first one, where do I want to buy it? Where am I going to lose money, right? So you have to know beginning. If this trade on Ford were to fail, I know I'm going to lose $20. I don't want to lose more than that, $20. And then where are you going to profit? Where am I going to make money? Because you're not holding, this is an investment. You're not going to get paid, or you don't want to get paid a year from now. You want to get paid shortly. You know, like I said, my average holding time is about a week, right? On the high side. And you want to know, like for Ford, are you going to make your $100 this week, right? For Wells Fargo, you're going to make your 300 this week, right? Because those are good trades. That's a fantastic side hustle. And if you take it a little bit more seriously, I can show you how to make a full-time income out of this. So for a second here, let me go back into the slides. And give me 1 second here, and I'll bring the slide back up. Okay, so now back into the presentation mode. Let me go here and let me show you how, if this is for you, the best thing you can do to get in touch with me is, if you'd like to learn more about how to get started trading, and I mean this in a real way, right? Not a fantasy, not hopes and dreams, but actual like foundation to get started to actually making money, then I'm going to show you how to get in contact with me. It's super easy. Go to my website, right, and go to precisiontradinglabs.com. When you go there, right on the main screen, there is a free report. I highly suggest you download it. All you got to do is put in your name and email address at the bottom of the screen, right? I'm bringing it up here. So just go to the main website, right? You get a free report on how to make 6 figures a year from trading stocks, right? I'll give you all the detail. It's pretty easy to read, not too much in it. It's very meaty and a lot of good information, but nothing that it doesn't need to be there, right? And then go to the bottom, put in your first name, your last name, your email address, send me my free report. When you get the report, all you have to do is, in the report, there's a link, right? With that link, after you read the report at the bottom, you can actually schedule a call with me. I will show you in more depth, just the two of us, how to do what we do, how to set up trades, how much money it takes. You tell me your goal, I will tell you the exact amount of money it will take to get to that goal, how many trades. It's a very easy way for me to help you. And if you decide you want to work with me, that's great. If I can help you, and only if I can crush it with you will I decide to work with anybody. If I can't help you, then no problem. We part as friends. Call's free, so don't worry about it. But go to my website, precisiontradinglabs.com. Website is up there right now. Take a look at it. You can throw it in Google, you'll find me, and download that free report. Give it a read. Inside there's a link to schedule a call with me. And when you do that, we'll have a conversation and I'll show you some really cool stuff about how to get started trading. And we'll take it from there. Let me end with, again, thanking Lori for inviting me to be a part of this program, and inviting you to decide to play full on and actually decide to make money from trading. I really enjoyed it. If you go back and watch this again and take these rules I had and just apply that to like any of your stock investments or trades yourself, you'll do pretty well with just that. But you know, I'm glad we got to spend some time together today, and I had quite a bit of fun. I always like talking about this stuff. So hope to hear from you. Go to my website and download my free report at precisiontradinglabs.com. Have a great day, guys. Take care.